Work order 14,308. This system was brought into the device drop for a no video signal issue related to the HDMI port. This system here needs to have the HDMI replaced because the HDMI was pushed back into the system, causing damage. This system is looking really dusty and it's going to need a deep cleaning on this system. And look at that, there's a dust bunny right there. The HDMI port on the system looks to be in good condition, but the backside of this port has damaged pins, and it has the old style of HDMI port. And the liquid metal is really showing separation and dry spots. Pay very close attention to the original HDMI port comparison to the replacement that I installed. The original ports are a weaker design that was originally shipped with these systems. As you can see on this one here, has a solid metal bracket in the back of the HDMI, which helps prevent these ports from the center pins to being pushed straight back and damaging the board, or preventing your system from displaying video out. These ports are a little bit stronger than the original design. When replacing these HDMI ports, I make sure that everything is in proper position and precisely put together. In the process of repairing these HDMIs, it's extremely important to take care of the liquid metal on these systems. Because if your system is ever staining vertical, that liquid metal will pool at the bottom half of the processor, leaving the top half of the processor void of liquid metal. Unfortunately, the engineers who designed these systems forgot about gravity, expansion, and contraction, which pushes the liquid metal out to the sides of the processor, leaving the top half of the processor void of liquid metal. The top half of the processor, you can see on this one here, has almost like a black oxidation. That black oxidation repels the liquid metal even further, creating a hot spot on the system, which will cause your system to overheat in certain games. As you can see, as I wipe this heatsink down, that oxidation layer does not like to come off very well until I hit it with a polishing brush to remove that oxidation. Once the oxidation has been removed and completely cleaned up, I reapply liquid metal back onto the system and make sure it is perfectly level across that heatsink. And I do the exact same thing for the processor. Now, this liquid metal is extremely dangerous to deal with. If you do not know how to handle this liquid metal properly, and that liquid metal escapes onto the motherboard, it can cause severe damage. This liquid metal is extremely conductive and acts like a wire, a liquid wire. So which means if this liquid metal gets underneath a processor, shorts out a capacitor, you have a dead motherboard. As you can see on this one, I kind of started the cleanup prior to starting this recording. I didn't realize I was recording when I started this cleanup, but I kind of started the recording right now, as you kind of see when I started the process. But you can see this oxidation layer that's formed underneath the liquid metal as I proceed to clean it. There's certain techniques that I have learned on removing and extracting the liquid metal out of the foam and around the foam safely. There's a lot of people out there that are using improper tools and techniques they should not be doing. In the process of this repair, the liquid metal has to be properly removed safely so that way it does not get on the board. And anyone that does not know what they're doing could damage these systems if it's not handled correctly. It's very important. I'll repeat this again. Make sure you know what you're doing when you go to touch this liquid metal. Every system that I repair, I add additional blue thermal compound between all the memory, module chips, storage chips, and power rails. So that way the system is going to be properly cooling those components. Because once that seal is broken, it kind of breaks one of the sides of the thermal conductive pads to prevent, and if it's not taken care of, it will cause the system to potentially overheat on those components. When you take off that top plate, it's almost like as if it is glued on. So when I add this thermal compound on there, it's going to fill in those air gaps, allowing for proper contact and allowing those components to cool correctly. System is looking extremely clean, dust free, HDMI replaced, all thermal compound Resolved. And now we're going to test the HDMI port. Visit DeviceDrop.com, give us a call, and set up an appointment today so you get your system repaired typically same day, depending on time of drop-off.